You sat down after the loss to Drury, thinking you were going to be in the GLBC tournament with Kay and Shep, your old high school coach. Those kind of people you have a connection to, and that I think probably meant a lot to you. But talk about the people, if you would, around this program that probably are pretty excited about today's game.
I think there's a lot of people. Just Jewell as a whole, I think. When you've watched, especially with the men's team, had such a great season, and to see the excitement that the community got there, and you look at even the professors and the students, the draw has been kind of an exciting thing this year. And Coach Holly, I think, is really neat right now. He's on his way with his team. They left at 7 a.m. so that they could come and support our program, and of course we'll do the same for them. And you get that, and that's probably been the nicest thing for me, and there's been a lot of really blessings along the way, but is to be able to coach with Coach Holly and for him and I to be able to work together and make our teams really kind of a family. And that's something that we've done really well. I think probably the last 8-9 years that we've really tried to do that, and you don't get that at a lot of other places. And so I know from talking to other coaches, I'm very blessed to be in that situation. I know my family itself is excited. They have like the mixed emotions that, when they were little, I have 4 kids, when they were little, they would travel with us on these. Now they have school and other activities, so they don't get to do that. But I know they're excited for our team and hopefully that we can do here.
Everybody's excited about this tournament appearance for you guys. How about you, though? I mean, what does it mean to you personally? It's been a while since you've been in the quarterfinals. The second time we've been in the GLBC Final 8. Right.
Now, for me, it's exciting to get here, and I'm glad with the way that we got the draw. I think again we match up well there. It's really exciting for me to see that with this team and with this group of seniors that we have, and starting early this year, that was when they said that you're only going to take 8, and not the typical 12 where you have the play-in games. We knew it was going to be a little more of a challenge, and for those kids to set that goal early, and that they wanted to be in the top 8 and get there, I think speaks a lot to them as their leadership, and so for me, it's really fun to see those things where kids set goals and they work to get them, and to be able to be in that spot.
Jill Slominski is with us here during halftime of the first round game in the GLBC. The program, you do travel a lot with the men. This is a weird trip, though, because you had to travel separately, and you think the kids benefit a lot from being together on these trips?
Coach Holly came on the bus before we left, and he's like, I know you guys have more room, but you may miss us a little bit. And it's kind of funny. It is nice having the bus to yourself, but I've listened to some of the players, like, it's different because without having the men, we complain about how crowded it is, and I think the men would do the same thing. They complain about it. But it's also nice having them there, and so, again, it does mean a lot that they're driving to come watch us. But the friendships that the teams build together is really a neat deal, and but yeah, I'm not going to complain. It's just kind of nice to be able to pick your own movies, and everybody has their own seat, and we can stretch our legs out, and so we'll take maybe 1 or 2 trips like this a year.
Hey, you have a daughter now, Addie, who is a freshman in college, and with your kids getting older, has that changed the way you view coaching?
Oh, I think probably the biggest change was when I had kids. Because then when I was coaching, the way I speak to them and the way I treat them, not that they were treated poorly before I had children, but I'm really big on, is this how I'd want my children's coach to speak to them and to treat them, and so I do come back to that, and then I think my players probably need to thank my kids or at least for me having children, because I have softened up quite a bit, but to have Addie here and around, she went to Drake initially, and I told her that she had to get out and try it. But to have her back at Jewell, and especially right now when I'm gone, she was there this morning getting the kids up and out to school, and all my kids have had to make some adjustments with me being a coach and missing a lot of their things. But I will say that Addison has been somebody that's has had to grow up quickly and has matured, and she's phenomenal and just great help for me and with the kids.
22 years, Jewell Slominski has been the head coach of the Cardinals. In that time, you've seen lots of changes, the NAIA to the NCAA most particularly, but what other changes have you seen in athletics as far as coaching basketball?
A lot of them have been good. I think I think sports as a whole that's bothered me a little bit is all the club teams and the AAU teams. It was kind of funny. We were talking about that on the bus today. It was just the expectations it's going away from the high schools, and I think that's sad because we did, Coach Mason and I were talking about just being the community and the community support, and I think it's become so much of young kids trying to get scholarships and that kind of deal rather than seeing their communities and what sports are really for. And it's about building those relationships, and the scholarships are nice, obviously. But there's not that many scholarships out there when you look at their academics and the other scholarships that they could get. I think that's been maybe the biggest change for me, and probably the biggest disappointment change. Is I think sometimes when you get to college, for me, so many kids are burnt out, because they play year round and they think they have to specialize, and parents feel the pressure of specializing rather than sitting back and just enjoying what the sport brings and teaches to young people.
Not many people realize you were also in college not only a good basketball player, pretty good softball player too. Why did you pick basketball as your vocation?
Well, when it's like 15 degrees out, I can tell you that basketball is much more fun to be playing. But I had a great softball coach in high school. But my big thing was I fell in love with the sport of basketball because of Shep, my high school coach, and he's just an incredible coach, Hall of Fame coach, and was National High School Coach of the Year. So I was very fortunate and blessed in that area, and I learned so much from him. And so to be able to do that, and I think I probably knew a little more about basketball as far as my understanding of the game. And quite honestly, I love to play softball. I coached softball all the time, and it's really hard to get everybody involved all the time and people excited about practicing. And as a coach, it was hard to be excited about going out in the weather when it was cold. I'm not a cold weather person, and so that was a little bit more of the decision making too.
Jewell Slominski, our guest at halftime. Final question for you. It's preceded by this. You're a Hall of Fame member at William Jewell. I think you're a high school as well. And anywhere else I missed?
Just in your heart, Rick.
Okay, so Hall of Famer and over 400 wins. But you have a singular moment at Jewell that really stands out that you're really proud of, or that will always be a highlight for you?
Yeah, actually, and I've had great assistant coaches. And I've talked a lot about Shep, but probably those 2 years of coaching with Shep as my assistant coach was, for me as a coach experience was two of the most special years I've had. And the other assistant coach, Steve Broughton, was an amazing person. I was very blessed to have him as my assistant coach, and to see him go through the battle that he did with cancer, I think changed me as a person and changed some perspectives. And so, I was very blessed in that way to have to be able to coach with him too.
Well, William Jewell is very blessed to have you. So no matter how much longer you go, it's been a lot of fun, and I hope we have some fun today and through this weekend as well.
Thanks, Rick.
Jewell Slominski, our guest. It's the HyVee Halftime Report, and we're back with the second half in